The skies over Europe and the Pacific during World War II were arenas of chaos, speed, and deadly precision. Or at least, deadly intent. Fighter pilots banked, rolled, and dove through clouds and tracer fire in desperate attempts to outmaneuver their enemies. Machine guns rattled, cannons roared, and streams of glowing rounds cut across the air in long, furious bursts. To the men in the cockpit, every squeeze of the trigger was a calculated gamble. A chance to strike down an opponent before being struck themselves. But here's the strange reality. In these high-speed dogfights, the vast majority of bullets missed their targets entirely. Thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, of rounds were fired in a single mission. So where did they all go? This is the story of the bullets that never hit their mark and the surprising, sometimes dangerous journeys they took after leaving the barrel. In the heat of a World War II dogfight, accuracy was far from guaranteed. Aircraft traveled at closing speeds of over 500 miles per hour, weaving and diving unpredictably. Pilots had only seconds to line up their shots, often while pulling G-forces that blurred their vision and shook their aim. The result? Hitting a moving target in the sky was incredibly difficult. Studies from the U.S. Army Air Forces estimated that during aerial combat, it could take thousands of rounds to score a single kill. For example, American P-51 Mustang pilots in Europe sometimes fired over 1,000.50 caliber bullets in a mission without scoring a single hit. So, what happened to the rest of those rounds? Many simply kept flying until gravity, air resistance, or impact stopped them. Some passed harmlessly into open sky, losing speed until they fell back to Earth. Others ricocheted off enemy planes, or even the pilot's own aircraft in rare, unlucky cases. The destinations of these missed bullets were as varied as the battlefields themselves. They could end up splashing into the ocean far below, burying themselves in fields, or striking targets that had nothing to do with the fight: livestock, buildings, even unsuspecting civilians. Every trigger pull was a small burst of chaos unleashed into the world, with consequences that extended far beyond the intended target. Missed bullets didn't simply vanish into thin air, and in the chaotic, three-dimensional battlefield of a dogfight, they could be as dangerous to friend as to foe. Friendly fire incidents in the air were rare, but not impossible. In the swirling chaos of a large engagement, bullets intended for an enemy aircraft could streak past and hit another Allied plane hundreds of yards away. Pilots sometimes reported hearing or feeling the thuds of stray rounds tearing through their wings or fuselage, only to discover later that they had come from a fellow squadron member. The greater danger, however, came for those on the ground. Over cities, ports, or contested islands, dogfights meant that hundreds of bullets might rain down, striking roofs, vehicles, or people. In places like Malta, Britain, and parts of occupied France, residents sometimes found spent bullets embedded in walls or rooftops, grim souvenirs of a battle fought thousands of feet overhead. Even over unpopulated areas, there were risks. Ground troops could be caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, pinned down not by enemy aircraft, but by falling or ricocheting rounds from friendly planes. Naval crews, too, were vulnerable when fighters engaged directly above their ships. For every hit that tore into an enemy fighter, countless others became unpredictable hazards, adding another layer of danger to a war that already seemed to have no safe space. Once a bullet leaves the barrel of a fighter's machine gun, its fate is ruled by physics. In World War II, most Allied and Axis fighters carried guns chambered in calibers like .303 British, 7.92 mm Mauser, or .50 Browning. These rounds left the muzzle at speeds between 2,500 and 3,000 feet per second, faster than the speed of sound. At those speeds, a bullet could travel miles before slowing down. But in aerial combat, the target was also moving, often toward the shooter, which meant relative velocities could exceed 500 miles per hour. This gave bullets tremendous impact potential, but also made aiming extremely difficult. If a bullet missed, it would continue along its trajectory until gravity and air resistance slowed it below the speed needed to stay airborne. At high altitudes, the thin air let bullets travel farther before losing speed. Once they fell, they could reach dangerous velocities again before striking the ground, though often less than their original muzzle energy. Some bullets would tumble or yaw after losing stability, reducing their lethality. Others could ricochet off metal aircraft skins at shallow angles, spinning off in unexpected directions. In naval battles, missed rounds frequently splashed into the ocean, where water stopped them almost instantly. But in land campaigns, they might travel significant distances before impact. Theoretical calculations show that a .50 caliber bullet fired from altitude could, under the right conditions, travel over 3 miles before hitting the ground. In heavily populated areas, that range meant stray rounds could easily land far from the battlefield, injuring or killing without warning. In short, a bullet's journey didn't end when it missed its target. It was only just beginning, and its final destination could be anywhere under the sky. The remnants of these airborne battles still linger in unexpected places. In rural Europe, farmers plowing their fields decades after the war have uncovered spent rounds, mangled by impact, but still recognizably wartime. In forests that once hid German flak positions, metal detectors turn up hundreds of corroded bullets that rained down during dogfights overhead. Urban areas bore their own scars. In cities like London, Rotterdam, and Berlin, repair crews sometimes discovered wartime bullets lodged in masonry or timber when renovating old buildings. Over time, these small pieces of metal became silent relics, unnoticed by most, but reminders to those who knew where to look. Some rounds found their way into water, lakes, rivers, and harbors that absorbed thousands of projectiles during aerial battles. While most simply corroded away, some remained intact, preserved in silt. Environmental studies have even shown traces of lead and copper in former battle zones, a lingering chemical fingerprint of the munitions expended. In short, many of the bullets fired in World War II dogfights never touched their intended targets, but they still left their mark, hidden in soil, stone, and memory. History offers no shortage of curious and sobering accounts of where stray dogfight bullets ended up. In 1940, during the Battle of Britain, a family in Kent reported finding several .303 caliber rounds lodged in their attic beams after a Luftwaffe raid. The bullets had fallen from a dogfight fought thousands of feet above, punching through the roof before losing enough speed to stop in the wood. In the Pacific, U.S. Navy sailors recalled standing on deck during aerial engagements and hearing the plink of falling bullets hitting the metal superstructure. Harmless by then, but a chilling reminder of the fight overhead. One Canadian farmer in Normandy later told historians that in the summer of 1944, after Allied air superiority was established, his barn roof was peppered with holes from stray rounds almost daily. He kept a small jar of recovered bullets as a wartime keepsake. These stories reveal a truth often overlooked. A bullet's path is unpredictable, and its eventual resting place can be far removed from the battle that launched it. Each piece of wartime lead, found decades later, tells not only a story of combat, but also of the civilians who lived beneath the shadow of those airborne duels. The bullets fired in World War II dogfights were more than just fleeting flashes in the sky. They were fragments of history, with journeys as unpredictable as the battles themselves. Most never struck their intended target. Instead, they fell into oceans, fields, forests, and cities, leaving traces both physical and psychological. These stray rounds remind us that war's reach extends far beyond the front lines. Even a battle fought miles above the earth could shape the lives of those on the ground, sometimes in small, barely noticed ways, and other times in deadly ones. Today, the bullets that remain are quiet artifacts, bits of metal hidden in the soil or lodged in old beams. silent witnesses to a time when the sky itself was a battlefield. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. There's much more history waiting to be uncovered.